Now that we've looked at people and policies in earlier courses, the final critical element of understanding and managing fuel systems and combustion equipment safety is making sure that equipment risks are controlled. The first step in controlling equipment risks is making sure that the equipment is specified and installed properly. Then a comprehensive preventive maintenance and safety device testing program needs to be in place. In this course, we help you understand the importance of key installation issues, assessing immediate hazards that may exist, and providing insight into test methods for safety interlocks and fuel valve seat tightness. Much of what is said here comes from first-hand knowledge of mistakes being made. This is an expensive but effective way to learn things that is not recommended. Installation issues can be broken down into two major themes: scoping and commissioning. Scoping can be related to buying new equipment or retrofitting old. Most of what follows applies to both new and old equipment. However, let's cover a few issues that deal specifically with scoping a retrofit project. Retrofits are a different matter. You are asking someone to try to fix what might be years of neglect and a history of changes to a piece of equipment. For example, in the case of a boiler that is getting a new low NOx burner, several issues can bring disappointment. Sometimes conditions between water tube passes, which can allow for leaked carbon monoxide-rich combustion products to the flue gas stream. This is not a fault of the burner, but in some cases it may not be discovered until the burner commissioning process. Whose fault is this? As a customer, how do you feel when you are told that the boiler still does not meet emission expectations after $250,000 has been spent, but it is not the vendor's fault? What about a furnace or oven where the contractor starts to tear into that rat's nests of a control panel or field junction box you have, just to find that things are not as they seemed? What happens now? Is it fair for the contractor to be responsible for 25 years of someone else's sins and problems? A lot of times for customers who pay for an upfront study and design work, the outcomes are much more predictable and everyone is happier. Also, please remember that even with an upfront scoping or design engineering project, there will no doubt still be defects that are hidden and waiting for the equipment to be disassembled and out of service, or worse yet, started up to be discovered. It's just that there will be fewer of them. When buying new equipment, it's all about deciding the big picture issues, such as what combustion equipment you should buy, what size or capacity it should be, and then deciding how and where it will be installed. These are just a few questions to ask before a firm order is placed for equipment or installation contracts are let. If you would like to hear more, please refer to the resources section. Okay, so a new big piece of equipment has just been installed at your site. Commissioning and startup are the things that really turn this device and everyone's expectations into reality. If it's done correctly, it will serve you safely and reliably for years to come. If it's done incorrectly, things will be damaged right from the start, and you will have a big headache for the rest of your career. One good way to help ensure commissioning success for a retrofit project, such as new burners being installed, is to take extensive operating information about the equipment before allowing a project to be started. This could mean documenting temperature profiles and fuel-air ratio verification, including fuel and air pressures, and a number of firing rates on an oven or furnace before anything is even touched. After all, if you don't know what you started with, it's difficult to understand where you ended up. There are two primary parts to commissioning safety and performance, and there needs to be a plan to validate both of them. Let's start with the safety plan. Many explosions have occurred during commissioning. Think about it. It's the first time everyone's assumptions really have a chance to be validated. Did the right equipment get bought, installed correctly, and wired properly? Does the PLC program really work? And so on. The objective of the safety plan should be to get all safety devices validated and burner fuel-air ratios set properly so that performance issues can be ironed out without an incident. This will involve the verification of the correct set points and calibration of all temperature control and safety devices, whether or not they were part of the project. Once the electrical power system is energized, cold air curves for the burner should be set and equipment should be dry-fired with no fuel. Plans should include steps to light only pilots first, then individual burners on low fire, then cycling individual burners. There should be many carefully thought-out steps and daily safety briefings to make sure that nothing goes wrong. The performance plan depends, of course, on expectations that were agreed upon at the time the scoping was done. This is largely going to be about such things as temperature control, firing capacity, temperature profiles and uniformity, and perhaps even emissions. If you are commissioning ovens or furnaces, you might need to have on hand survey instruments that are sent through to identify temperature profiles. This finish line for commissioning should be well defined up front before work begins. If there are emission targets, make sure that the test methods and conditions are also agreed on up front. All commissioning steps should be done with a customer's best and brightest personnel shadowing the contractor's commissioning team very closely and taking lots of notes. There should be nothing going on that you as an owner don't know about and are not fully involved in.